You have just heard a song from the Jesuit Music Ministry. Follow jescom.ph on Spotify and Jescom Music on YouTube. We are also on iTunes and Deezer.
Radyo Katipunan is now online. See our live feed on facebook.com/radyo-katipunan. Check out our Instagram and our Twitter at radyo-katipunan and subscribe to our YouTube channel at radyo-katipunan FM for more exclusive content.
Get your daily dose of inspiration through our music. Follow jescom.ph on Spotify and Jescom Music in YouTube.
We stand on a hill between the earth and sky. Now all is still when the yawless colors fly. Our course is run and the setting sun ends Ateneo's day. Eyes are dry at the last goodbye. This is the Ateneo way. Merry for you, for your white and blue. We pray you keep us merry, constantly true. We pray you keep us merry, faithful to you. Down from the hill, down to the world go I, remembering still how the bright blue eagles fly. Through joys and tears, through the laughing years, we sing our battle song. Win or lose, it's a school we choose. This is the place where we belong. Merry for you, for your white and blue. We pray you keep us merry, constantly true. We pray you keep us merry, faithful to you.
Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.
Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpa at tama. Buhay atenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, katipunero, sugo, todo sa kayod,
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
If it's entertainment you crave,
Catch us on
New
New
Wave.
Wave.
Surfing through the latest on our shores.
Every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m.
See you there. Hello everyone, good afternoon. Coming to you on Radio-Katipunan 87.9 FM via Zoom. I'm Max, and when it comes to what's happening, I'll serve you the facts. So please, take this hour to sit back and relax because this is New Wave. So, in celebration of Women's Month, joining me today is a fellow woman from Radio-Katipunan who is one of our besties. So please give it up for B.
Hey
Hi,
Max.
B.
Yes, again, my name is B. I am just a letter from my head. So yeah, thank you for having me again as your co-host. I'm always happy to be part of New Wave. Happy Women's Month, Maxine.
Happy Women's Month, B. I know that you greeted me first on message. I do you one better and greet you now on a live. All right.
Grabe competitive siya. Oo.
Of course, go big or go home. So, anyway, to start Women's Month and a little bit of a historical background, this was established in the Philippines in 1998 as a presidential proclamation. So, this movement began to honor women who have been trailblazers throughout world history, and then the Philippines took part and adapted it as well. And to this day, in 2022, we still celebrate it. Of course. So, right now, so first for our local fan, which I'm very excited to talk about because now more than ever to create in the respective mediums to either give people a breath of fresh air or deliver really important messages that need to touch the hearts and minds. So with this, audience members are willing and eager to consume content of all kinds, either to find some form of escapism or to broaden the realities of everyday life. And a medium that is often used for all of this is filmmaking. We know that movies have always provided people with both a sense of comfort and challenge. And Piling Obra Video, or UP or POV, is UP Cinema's annual collegiate film competition, which aims to provide a platform for student filmmakers to exhibit their films to a wider audience. Despite the restrictions given by the pandemic, they are still going strong. And joining us to discuss POV today is Mr. John Luis Javier, this year's POV Festival Director. So, hello, Mr. John.
Hello everyone, I'm John, the Festival Director of this year's Piling Obrang Video, or POV 18.
Hi, how are you? So, tell us about POV.
Okay, so for starters, POV or Piling Obrang Video is an annual intercollegiate film competition of UP Cinema, one of the film organizations in UP Diliman. In the same year UP Cinema was founded in 2004, POV was established. And from then until now, POV stays true to its mission of empowering the youth to create their mark in the field of audiovisual storytelling, to occupy their space on the big screen, and to believe that their stories deserve to be championed. But of course, POV has come a long way from when it started. UP Cinema is a student organization and a fairly new film organization in UP Diliman. UP Cinema started small, so they really had to work on its visibility and relevance as an org and as a film org in order to serve its pursuit of making POV a great platform for the youth. Needless to say, it was not an easy journey, but UP Cinema always goes back to its core, to the very reason why Piling Obrang Video was established, to recognize the youth and their talent, and to lift their stories to where it belongs, to the people.
That's amazing. That was a mouthful. I'm really interested about this because I really love like watching films as well and going to these film festivals when I was still studying, of course, until now. And then, yeah, of course, as someone who works in the prod side of things as well, like we're very familiar about the term POV because we use that in our scripts. So maybe you could tell something about how you came up with the name. I'm sure there's a play of words, but can you share something about it, sir?
Okay, kind of a background. Let's say you watch a film or even consume any film-related materials. It all boils down to perception. How you watch a film, how you interpret the film, how you relate to a film. And now comes its discussion, whether we like or dislike a film. agree or disagree with its message. But even with our differences, we are still able to relate to one another, learn from each other, because at the end of the day, to watch film or to talk about films entails human connection, to see, to listen, and to feel for one another. So now comes the wordplay, point of view. Piling Obrang Video aims to build a community of youth filmmakers in order for societies to see what they see, to live in how the youth perceives the world, which in turn, a way of having society connect with the youth and the youth with society. Finally, since POV is a film competition, it's fitting to name the event Piling Obrang Video because in our pursuit to empower the youth, we also recognize the works that really stepped up, those who dared and went the extra mile to claim their place on the big screen.
All right. I'm excited to see how a lot of those movies are going to be. Can you tell us like what audiences and viewers can look forward to? Like, can you tell us a little bit about the films that are going to be played this year and what the students have come up with?
Okay, now that POV is on its 18th year, just like the organization, Piling Obrang Video will be bolder and more proactive. If last year we reminisced and exhibited the previous POV films, amidst the restrictions of the pandemic, POV 18 is bringing back the film competition, which serve as a space for youth, film, and society. And while narrative, experimental, and documentary short films fill the space of the previous POV, POV 18 will open the film competition to any form of storytelling. It may not be exhibited on the big screen, like usual, but POV 18 will bring these Philippine short films online for free. Also, in response to limited access to films, POV 18 will deem it necessary to address the constraints of time, space, and resources that blanketed the cinema at the very least. Because now, more than ever, considering the current political climate, we need to see and hear where the youth stands firm.
All right, so I know you guys prepared a video for us, and I think it's ready to be played now. So before we wrap up, I hand over the floor to Sir Justin. You can go ahead.
Okay.
I know that you're excited to ask this question.
Yeah, so I was just really curious about like the types of films. So you answered it already with the theme, but do you have like a special segment for like a full feature film, or do you also welcome shorts or short films, like featurettes, things like that?
POV is entertaining only short films, student short films. So it can be narrative, experimental, documentary, or pandemic cinema. For this year, we are really opening to other forms of storytelling.
Nice. And then you have like a specific running time? Like what's the limit here? What are we expecting to watch or to see?
So the limit would be at least up to 25 minutes.
25 minutes. Yeah. Awesome. It was great.
So how many entries are we expecting to see?
Oh yeah, we have 15 finalists for this year out of 70 entries.
Oh,
wow.
That's
considering it's a pandemic, that's like it's a lot of entries. Congratulations.
Yeah, actually
congratulations.
It's films from 2020 to 2021. So we catered also 2020 because we did not had our film competition last year because of the pandemic and all of that.
Okay.
It's always inspiring to see that even with the circumstances, and though in the beginning it was considered very limiting for filmmakers to be making movies in the time of a pandemic, people and students have gotten like very creative and very brave to continue the art of filmmaking and producing films like despite the setup. So I'm really excited to see what they've made and how they make it. Like, oh, that'll be so cool to see. So before we let you go, where can people find POV? Where can we follow you? Where can we check up? And how can people watch?
Okay, so for the film streaming, it would be on March 12 to 18. We will be streaming on that on Move by Cinema Centenario. So that will be for free. And for our socials, so we also have our announcements on our social media accounts to keep you guys posted. For our Facebook page, it's Piling Obrang Video. And for IG and Twitter, it's at UP Cinema POV. But also we have our Discord server. So we're trying to build a community there. So it's named POV Roman numeral 18. So it's a space for the cinemasters, name code for the people that are in UP Cinema, us. I'm a cinemaster, the finalists, and the public. So in a way, everyone can create new friends, talk about films. Yeah, we also post announcements there. So really a community.
Well, we wish you luck. Yeah. So head over to their socials, guys.
Yes, please leave your socials in the comment section of the Facebook Live so that people know where to find you. I'm sure a lot of people especially would want to join the Discord server because that would be really fun to like watch the POV films and then get to talk about it with other people who have also seen the films. So thank you, John. You're on mute.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. All right. I wonder if there are like films that are centered for women. Para dapat nasa theme siya. Diba?
Yeah, I was thinking that also because like now would be the perfect time because it's March. But I guess we're just going to have to watch and find out what type of films there will be. But I'm sure that there will be a lot of films that will make us think, a lot that will make us feel relaxed. I'm sure it's going to be like a very nice combination. So variety. So B, let's watch that together. It's a plan.
It's a plan. We can have that Discord, diba? Sige, let's do it.
All right. Okay, so as I said earlier today, we are opening Women's Month, and what better way to start the celebrations than with people whom we look up to and learn from. We asked our audience, and you guys answered, and today we're going to get to know two of your favorite professors. So first, from our home in Ateneo, she is an Ilocana sociologist taking up graduate studies in public policy at the National University of Singapore, and a lecturer at the Ateneo de Manila University. Please welcome Miss Athena Sharain Presto.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Hello! Happy to be here. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for nominating me, although baka isa-dalawa lang yan, pero still honored.
No, believe it, we have had a lot of DMs for both of you. Okay, and next, from Enderon College and Thames International Business School, a professor who many describe as life-changing and has a big heart for her students and an advocacy to care for dogs in the Philippines. Please welcome Miss Suzanne Llanera.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Hello. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have both of you here. So how have the two of you been? And out of curiosity, have you guys been able to go back on campus within the past few weeks?
For me, not yet. Not yet. It's all online. Everything is online. I still don't know when we're going to be back. They said it will be the next sem after this sem.
Okay.
All right.
And is that?
Me naman, I'm doing, actually the classes here are face-to-face. So I go to school every week. But ever since I started working at Ateneo, I haven't been in Ateneo as a teacher. I have been at Ateneo as a student. Before going here to study public policy, I was part of the faculty of the University of the Philippines Department of Sociology. So I stayed there for 1 year on lockdown, on campus. And then afterwards, had to go home. And then, yeah.
Right.
That's me.
Alright.
Surviving kami.
Agaling. So we have teachers now in our show, Max, no? And then it's a very like amazing career because I come from a family of educators as well. My sister is also a teacher, teaching little kids naman sa mga grade 2. Ganyan. And then a question for the both of you. Let's start from the beginning of your career because we're talking about like how we empower women now. No? So how did you both become teachers? Was it something that you always wanted to do, or was it really in your like dream board that I'm going to be a teacher, I'm going to teach students, I'm going to be in education? Anyone can start.
Okay, for me, when I was young, I wanted to be a teacher because remember when we were young, diba, there are some in elementary, there's student leaders, yung mga ganon na who, when there's no teacher, takes over. I wasn't chosen. So at home, I practice at home in my room without any people, parang you just teach. No? So that was a dream. But I never thought that I'm going to end up as a teacher because I've been my career was in advertising. Okay, I spent 20 years in advertising. Then suddenly, one of my staff asked me, babes, do you want to teach? I know you want to teach. You're looking for an advertising practitioner. So I said, I don't have any units in education. No, you don't need education because education is just for high school. But since you have an MBA, then you can teach. So that was the beginning of my teaching career. I started in TEMS. That was in 2001. You're still angels by then. Then the red direction. Diba? You're still angels by then. 2001. Yeah.
Hindi naman.
We were little babies.
Little babies.
Oh, babies.
Little babies.
The process of conception, ganon.
Uso po kasi dito sa radyo katipunan ng age reveal. So it's always there. But yeah. How about you, Ms. Ash?
Me, I come from a family of teachers. So actually, I have cousins, first cousins. I have aunts, sisters of my mother who are teachers. My mother is a teacher. My sister is a teacher. We are a family of public school teachers. So they teach elementary and high school public schools. So I've always been in the world of this profession. And it's normal for me. So this is my world growing up. And you know what they say, if you actually take a fish out of the aquarium or the ocean, then it's the first time that fish will feel like, oh, I have been wet for a long time. Now I'm dry. But if you're in the ocean for such a long time, you would not know that there's water around you. So that has been my world for a very long time. But I guess when I started teaching in UP in a higher education institution, that was when I realized it's actually very different. Because I grew up watching my mother actually do a lot of volunteer work. Go to the school. They actually clean their own classrooms, by the way. Public school teachers clean their own classroom. Public school teachers have to, buy all of these Manila paper, chalk erasers, etc.
Yes.
And also they are. It's a heavy emotional labor because remember these are public school teachers, and my father is actually a bus conductor. The person who gets fares in the bus. So it was a hard life for us growing up, and it has been a very emotionally taxing thing to watch my mother also handle different emotions, different needs of the students who are by themselves financially struggling. So I never wanted to be a teacher, by the way.
Oh,
yes, because I
plot twist.
want to do that. I want to be a teacher. Yes, but after graduation, I was invited to teach in UP, and I said, okay, why not try this? So there's a lot of privilege, of course, around my career, my experience, as compared to that of my sister, my aunts, my mother. So it's actually one of my driving force to do my best in this kind of career path, because I feel like this is something that I can do well. I'm happy to stand in front of my students and learn from them at the same time as they learn from me. So TLDR, ang hirap ng buhay na maging teacher. Ayoko maging teacher, but now that I'm here, I see the reward. And I want to do my best.
Ayan, sige. I was gonna ask about the rewards. Pero before that, I want to comment that I think the common denominator with our guests now, and I'm so happy that they were invited to teach As in, parang, ooh, look at that.
Wow.
We were invited to teach, and then I think like people see their potential in doing it, and we're really glad that you said yes.
Yes,
To
Yes,
yes.
but I
our
had to turn in my application. So I was invited to turn in
yes.
my application. So I would just
Yeah,
like to qualify that.
yeah, but still,
Yes.
those are just
Still.
paperworks. I think, it's still
Yeah.
like a big like hi, hello, yes, power. Anyway, so speaking of rewards, just top of your head doesn't have to be like super profound. Kahit nga comedy siya or kahit something fun. Like the best thing about being a teacher in your experience. A few words lang po.
For me, it's fulfillment. You can't no money in teaching. Talaga, there's no money in teaching, but really the fulfillment that you get from the students. Okay, because if you know, because like for me, I've been teaching them. I've been teaching for almost since 2001, and still my students who have already graduated ask me to be the ninang, or
Yeah.
they still
Aw.
be we still connect through Facebook, or we still go out. All these things, these are rewards that can't be, it's really was this it's really the fulfillment that you get.
Nice, nice.
Tama yung sinabi ni Ma'am Suzanne. Kasi, ganyan din yung nanay ko, di ba? Lagi, minsan nagreklamo siya na, hay nako, may mag-message na naman, magdinilang na naman ako sa kasal, ganyan, o sa binyag. Pero sobrang saya niya. Parang, alam mo yung, hay nako, ganun, pero meron siyang meron like a huge hint of amusement in that. So, of course, thankfully, wala pa namang akong mga dati estudyante na ikakasal at hindi pa naman ako nagiging ninang sa kasal. So, like, thankfully, but I've formed a lot of friendship with my previous students, and sometimes I get to also collaborate with them now.
Oh.
Some of them are now faculty members themselves and are also teaching themselves. So they would, some of them would message me na, Ash, how did you deal with this? I mean, I have never expected that this is how teaching would be like. So like we help each other in a lot of different ways. They help me and I also help them. We recommend each other's work. We read each other's work. We
Cute.
collaborate. So it's a kind of it's a different fulfillment. Definitely, as compared to like all of the social aspects of it. But me, aside from the social aspect, it's just a support system in terms of also my career. Because I mean, at the end of the day, I have a lot of students who graduate from very different fields. And the kind of work that I do, sociology, very social. So some of them will ask me about very diverse kinds of questions for their career, and sometimes like I get some racket in between. So my career,
Nice,
so like
nice.
that's how I
Yes.
survive. Kasi walang pera sa pagtuturo, so racket na talaga.
Yeah. It's good that
Plus
we
you
are
learn.
open na, di ba? Yes, sorry.
Yeah,
True.
Ma'am Suzanne?
plus you learn pa from them. It's not only you because you're a teacher, everything
Yes,
is right.
tama
What
po,
you say is
Ella.
right.
Agree
Like for
ako
me,
dyan.
I learned how to edit. My student taught me how to edit. Yeah, so my student taught me how to do Photoshop and all. So sabi ko, okay, now I'm the student, you're the teacher. So without those students, I don't know how to edit because now I have, later na lang, I'm gonna tell you, I have a YouTube. I have a YouTube
Wow, plug na natin yung
Channel
about
Alright.
travel. So, pero ako lang nag-edit noon. So,
Wow.
yun. So, kung wala yung mga students ko, hindi ako makaka-edit. So, I really put value to my students. Yeah, they help me a lot as well.
We'll ask you about that later, and we will for sure plug that because I'm sure a lot of people want to see that. But I want to zero in on something both of you said about fulfillment and me as a student. Like, what we really appreciate, and I know a lot of my fellow students will agree with me on this, is when our professors make an effort to not just be teachers, but to also be friends, like adding a personal touch in classroom life, especially now that we were in a pandemic, and especially in the beginning, it was not easy, it was rough, and a lot of things felt very impersonal. It was hard to feel warmth because we were doing all of this through the screen. But I see that both of you, on site and online, have really managed to forge good friendships with your students and to be a good support system alongside. So, is this something that you consciously do, or is this something that you make it a point to do when you're teaching or as a teacher? Anyone can go first.
Me? Okay.
Yes.
For me,
Yeah.
what I value talaga is the relationship. Though you teach theories and concepts, but after that, after the classroom, they're gonna forget all these things, diba? What they're going to remember is the relationship, the inspiration, how you inspired them, how you motivated them, how they learned from you, all these things. So for me, it's not an effort, but talagang dumarating na lang yon, you know? Like, especially now, it's pandemic. Siyempre, friends ko sila in Facebook. And you can see there, some of them are depressed, you know, some of them had a broken heart, you know, just ended the relationship. So I message them and say, hey, you're strong, believe in yourself. Yung mga ganon. Tapos sasabihin nila, uy, Miss Llanera, thank you so much. You don't have to do it. But for me, they needed someone. So I'm there.
Ako naman but hindi siya conscious effort, and I also recognize that it's how, because it's the way that I was raised, coming from a family of teachers. So I remember when I was a little child, so like I was small, I was 4 or 5 years old. I come to my mother's school, I play with her students, high school students ito ha, so parang dami kong mga ate-ate. And now when I come home, tapos merong sa nanay ko, or mag-video ko sa nanay ko, sabihin niya, naalala mo siya? Sabi ko sa nanay ko, sino siya? So sabi niya, siya yung si ate mo na kalaro mo noon. Of course, I was 4. You know? So I was raised in that kind of environment. And so it goes to say I was raised very extroverted. And I was raised to, you know, think of classroom experience in a very social, personal manner. So it's not a conscious effort on my end. It's just the way that I know how to do this because I was raised that way. But also it's because I'm extra extroverted. So I don't know for teachers who feel, you know, who want to have some private space, who are introverted. Of course, they would have different ways of dealing with students also. And I'm just happy and I'm glad that the way that I deal with my students is something that is appreciated. Because in this kind of profession, as I said a while ago, there's a lot of emotional occupation going on here. Like it's an emotional job, and we are not compensated for the emotional labor that we put into this job. Like Ma'am Llanera, she's not getting paid for going the extra mile to message her students, but she does it anyway. So I keep a conscious effort of asking myself, like, you know, do I want to make the extra step? You know, kasi ang dami ko din ginagawa in life. I'm doing racket, supporting my family, studying, etc. So part of my privilege is my personality, having grown up in a very extroverted environment. But other teachers in the although they would want to also exert the extra effort, maraming constraints like emotionally and then personality mo pa. So I just want to put it out there because I also know a lot of my colleagues who are very, very amazing teachers who are also very passionate in critiquing, providing constructive feedback to their students. But because they don't accept friend requests on Facebook, some students will feel like, suplada naman ni ma'am. Pero like, yeah, we have very different ways of dealing with students. So, yes, kami ni Ma'am Llanera, like, very kami, social, ganyan.
Yeah, it's amazing. Guys, students, may life din po si teachers. So please.
Yes.
So yeah, speaking of life and speaking of like doing like multiple tasks and do para having life outside of the classroom or the virtual classroom. Like kanina off air, si Miss Suzanne has this iba yung name niya. Like,
yes.
Si Silver. And then
Suzanne
we're both
Silver.
like curious about Silver na parang, okay, Silver to the dog. And kami ni Mas were both like dog people. We were both like dog parents, paw parents.
Yes.
Can you and we heard that you have an advocacy for dogs. Can you tell us something more about your advocacy for dogs?
Yes, I had an I had International Wildlife Coalition Trust. It's an animal welfare group, fully funded by the British donors, by UK. So my principals are in UK. We do give free spay and neuter to depressed communities. We go to barangay, each barangay prior to pandemic. We also rescue dogs from slaughter, yung mga kinakatay. So, nag-aabang kami sa mga highway with the CIDG kasi yung source coming from Batangas going to Baguio. So that is pre-pandemic kasi during the pandemic sinara. And then what else do? We do education campaign, mga responsible pet ownership, because do you know that sa probinsya para lang makatipid sa neuter, tinatali nila yung balls, ang sakit. Or sometimes they believe that they cut the ligaments sa tongue para hindi daw magka-rabies. Yung mga myth na ganun. So we had to do an education campaign. What else do? We do anti-mange, lahat. So that's my advocacy, the dogs, okay? Prior to this, so it's International Wildlife Coalition Trust. It's a foreign-funded organization. But prior to this, I co-founded Animal Kingdom Foundation. This is in Capas, Tarlac. Then it is a shelter. It's ongoing now, but I'm not connected with that anymore because we formed our own group, the UK. So that's it. So we want to eliminate stray dogs kasi yung mga stray dogs tinatapon, yung alam mo sinasaktan, they don't care, diba? So to eliminate the stray dogs, we promote spay and neuter. That's why it's free. Now, it's free. Now, if you go to a clinic in Metro Manila, spay is 12,000. Neuter is 9,000. But for us, it's free in Tarlac. Yeah, so we go pa to Iloilo, Palawan, ganyan. Pero, syempre, we do this, we prioritize less fortunate, poor communities. Kasi yung iba, gusto lang mag-discount, mag-savings. Hindi naman yung ganon. So, yon. So, that's my advocacy. I'm very busy with that. And in fact, we're going to build a center, in Tarlac. Okay. So, it's a treatment center. It's not a shelter.
Right. Do you also kasi you have dogs. How about yung mga cat owners naman? Like if they want to have them?
Yes, we include cats. We include cats, but the funding is for dogs. So in terms of documentation, hindi ko sinasama yung cats. But we include cats. Yeah.
Off the record daw.
Okay naman sa UK yun. Pero yung funding kasi for dogs.
Right.
Yeah.
First.
Plus, what else do I do? I also do, for humans naman, I'm not involved, but I help the vent babies. You know, the babies that are dependent on ventilators. Marami yun eh. So, kawawa naman, all through buong life nila, naka-ventilator sila dyan. So, and these are poor families as well. So, I'm not involved with that. I just help in that cause. Yeah.
It's great to see people helping with these causes and bringing light to it, because some of these are things that we don't hear about every day, but are problems that are present nonetheless. So it's good that we're shedding light on these problems today. And hearing the thing about the dogs, I'm glad that there's a service like this for dogs, and that you want to eliminate, not eliminate, that's probably not the right word for it, but care for these, to lessen and to care for these stray dogs and cats, because sometimes you see them on the street, you don't know where they're going to end up. Super kawawa.
Yeah, di mo naman pwede apunin lahat yun.
Yeah, exactly. But if we had a choice, we bought a zoo and then you just have all of the dogs ever.
That's why we promote also adoption. Kasi in the Philippines, hindi pa masyadong popular ang adoption. They want yung may breed na dog. Yung rescue dog, Aspin naman yun. So yun ang challenge, because we rescue a lot. Pero saan namin dadalhin? We're not a shelter. We are a center lang. So pinapa-adopt namin. And it's that's a challenging task for us.
Yes.
Right. How about Queen's Ash naman? We have a different perspective, different color na kay Mrs. Ash. Miss Ash, how about you? Can you tell us more about us? Is it Singa? Did I pronounce that right?
Oh, sorry. About Singapore, I think.
Sorry.
That's about Singapore.
Masyado tayo naka-realize as
Nag-isip ako kung may organization ba akong Singa. Parang, ako ba yung pinakausap niyo? Wala akong org na Singa.
Sorry.
Singapore. Yes,
Singapore.
yes.
Okay, Singapore. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
Actually, yeah. Uh, well, how should I start? Because my advocacy has really been for students from lower socioeconomic status in the provinces. So I focus on them because, coming from my own experience also. So ever since I was in college, I was an officer of various student organizations. So in UP Namnama, it's an organization of Ilocano students. In UP, I serve as the president. We initiated a lot of free programs for high school students. We also even give them entrance exam reviews and coach them on how to submit their applications, just to build up a dream of just to build up a habit of dreaming. Because if you're from the lower socioeconomic status, it's really very hard to dream beyond like what you see around you, right? So after graduation, I started bringing in more gender aspect in that kind of advocacy. So I did a lot of advocacy works, led a lot of projects for that. One of them was funded by the US ASEAN Women's Academy, and also was funded by the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative. By the way, I also serve as the women country lead of the Women Alumni Network of the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative. So through US funding from the US ASEAN Academy and the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative, we got a project. We got funded for a project. It's called Salakniban. It's an Ilocano word which means to protect. And it's actually a very funny word because that project was about upholding sexual and reproductive health rights. So, Salakniban, to protect, meaning just contraceptives, but also protection in terms of gender violence. And also protection from a lot of economic shocks brought about by threats to your sexual and reproductive health rights. If you get pregnant, there's a lot of economic aspects and negative economic consequences, especially for women and children, and of course the side of the women's family. Anyway, so throughout that, so we partnered with the Ilocos provincial government for that, and the project has since expanded. So in 2021, last year, we did 2 projects. The Salakniban, by the way, was in 2020. So in 2021, we did Salaknikdan, which means Salakniban plus Palanikdan, which means to protect also. It was the Bisaya word. We partnered with our colleagues in YCL from Southern Philippines, so that's a national level scale. And throughout those projects, we got also funding from the Women's Global Network for Reproductive Rights, the WGNRR. And here in Singapore, I've also made sure that that kind of advocacy is sustainable. So I've also did a lot of training for younger students, basically in Ilocos, and also my colleagues in YCB. So we did like Safe Spaces PH, etc. for last year. And all of those are recorded. Like I have a lot of recordings now for all of that. So if anybody is listening and would like to know more about sexual and reproductive health and rights, just send me a message. I can send you some recordings of some topics that we did. So that's it for me. And by the way, and I say this to all of my closest friends because many of my playmates growing up, like my batchmates in elementary school, this is something that is very real to them. I'm basically like the exemption of the rule. Like, say I got scholarships I got scholarships in UP. I'm studying here now in Singapore with the full ride scholarship, with the tuition, everything, even travel costs, research costs, etc. But if not for these scholarships, I would have ended up, in the receiving end as in the negative rot of these threats. So it's my way of paying it forward also. And if not for all of these opportunities that gave me this multiplier effect to be in this situation that I am right now, then wala din, di ba? So yeah. I feel so passionate about this talaga.
Yeah.
I'll end there.
It's so wonderful to hear passion projects.
Yes, really. And it's really inspiring to see that you know the privilege you have and you choose to pay it forward, because I think that's a reminder that a lot of us need right now, that being lucky doesn't mean like, okay, I'm lucky and I'm going to sit on that. No, you can share it and you can pay it forward. So that's great, and I think this month is the perfect opportunity to practice that and to remind people of that. So from there, what does empowerment mean to both of you? So anyone can start. Maybe Ma'am Suzanne, since Miss Ash just said something.
Yeah, nakatas ka.
Yes, let's take a break first. So.
Okay, for me, empowerment means having the strength, having the passion to do what you want, to do something with a purpose, to find your purpose in life and do everything to fulfill that goal or that purpose. So for me, that's empowerment.
Nice. So, Ma'am Ash, are you ready again?
So ako naman, simple lang. Ito yung having to make an informed and equitable choice. Kasi lahat ng mga choices at gusto natin gawin sa buhay ay nakaangkla siya doon sa napakaraming constraints at limits, di ba? So kung gusto ko, for example, mag-aral sa pinakamagagandang universidad sa mundo, choice ko yun. Pero meron, like, am I free to pursue that? Of course not. I'm not free to pursue that because there are limited opportunities for me to pursue that. Choice ko, for example, na either magpagupit, magpakalbo, magpahaba ng buhok, magbra na pumunta sa beach, magsando na pumunta sa beach. It's a choice. But sometimes, like, your choice is predicated on how people are going to react to you, or or choices are also predicated on material constraints, cultural constraints. So at the end of the day, empowerment just means that you are free to exercise, to make a choice and to exercise that choice. So, ang daming kailangan gawin. Napakaraming mga constraints. Pero, pag nagsama-sama tayo lahat, collective empowerment with other, kaya natin yan. So, napakarami din ina-empower ni Ma'am Suzanne, di ba? Kasi yung pamangkin ko, sobrang dog lover talaga siya. So, yung parang naalala ko nung bata siya, yung first signs na nakuha namin sa kanya na meron na siya emotional quotients ay nanonood siya ng pet owner na namatayan ng aso.
Yeah.
Tapos umiiyak din siya. Oo, tapos pag nasistress siya sa life, as in lalaroin niya yung mga aso, ganyan. So, imagine, ang daming mga nakikita, hindi natin nakikita on face value na kailangan to empower women. Pero, ang daming mga bagay pa. At yun yung kailangan natin i-put forward na ginagawa ako, kaya natin.
Right. Okay, my question actually now is, since we are like celebrating and commemorating Women's Month, and it is a celebration for us women, and it is empowerment for us women, powerful ladies in the house. In your profession, or actually in where you are now, your perspective, your circles, the things that you see and the things that you're exposed to, do you still see certain negative stereotypes or oppression in women? Like, kasi di ba nagkaroon ng issue before that women are treated as second-class citizens. Do you think, or do you still see that, or you still get to experience that maybe? And then, siguro, follow-up question na rin, being where you are now, how do you think we can effectively counteract these oppressive experiences, circumstances, negative stereotypes?
Okay, ako na naman.
Sige po. Sure.
Nagkalugin ko na. Kasi sige like po. Now, in the pandemic, I'm always in the house. Nanonood ako ng mga tulfo. Yung mga tulfo. Diba? Okay. Ang daming oppressed women. Especially, why? Because wala silang trabaho. So, umaasa sila sa mga asawa. Okay? So umaasa sila. So even though sinasaktan na sila, even though they're being verbally abused, wala silang magawa because they are dependent on the husband. Yan ang nakikita ko. I think marami pang ganon, no? So yun ang that's sad. So I want sana na to instill in people na you have to be productive. You have to be productive. Maski lang benta-benta ng banana queue or whatever, because you owe it to yourself. Not to others, but you owe it to yourself to develop yourself. Also, maski matanda ka na, you have to keep on learning. I'm not scared to say na I'm 60, but I still learn, I still study other things for Photoshop, editing, whatever. Kasi for me, at the end, gusto ko sana maski 70, productive pa ako. Sayang naman. Now, if you are productive and if you believe in yourself, then you have the confidence already and you will be empowered. Yeah, kung may confidence ka na, hindi mo na masyadong papansinin kung anong sasabihin ng iba, 'di ba? You're not a people pleaser anymore. Kasi hoda what they say, but this is what I think because I'm confident with myself and I love myself. That's it. Now, for the second question, I think you just have to guide the people, no, and tell them really na they have to believe in themselves, na there is still a chance, na hindi lang just because wala kang trabaho, dependent ka sa husband mo or whatever, ganun ka na. No, you have to believe in yourself. Like for me, I got married at 47. Okay, 47. So I didn't change my married. I didn't change my to my married name. So Llanera is still my single name. Why? Because people know me as in the professional field as Llanera. However, I'm married. You know, all these now. So you just have to believe in yourself and to, you know, and pass that on. Help others to believe in themselves. Ang importante kasi here is self-worth. You know, you have to have self-worth. That's it for me.
Naiyak ako. This is training, ma'am. Pero sige. Anyway, sorry. Miss Ash, how about you?
Grabe naman yung si ma'am, may pa-age reveal, pero yung age reveal niya parang mapapanganga ka na lang talaga kasi ma'am, you look 40 and younger.
I love you, Athena.
And totoo kasi yan, ma'am. So parang, grabe naman siya. Ayaw na tuloy mag-reveal na age ko kasi baka ina-expect you din na 30 na ako pero looking 20 lang.
Don't feel pressure.
Yan lang. But speaking of looks, kasi I would say that there is still such a huge gender bias. Especially like even now. I mean, okay, give natin yung sa Pilipinas na we're ranking high in the Global Gender Gap Report as compared to other Asian countries. Pero if you look at what's happening in your everyday life, even the most trivial ones, you can see a lot of microaggressions also against women. You can see a lot of constraints to their career advancement. So in my experience, I've had students commenting on my student evaluation of teaching na ang ganda-ganda ng kilay ni ma'am. So like ako naman, thank you, pero hindi nyo naman yung sinasabi kapag lalaki yung teacher nyo. Gets ba? So parang andun pa rin yung burden na kapag babae ka, dapat mas presentable ka kasi quote-unquote babae ka. Which is unfair. It gives more burden on our shoulders to be presentable all the time. And aside from that, the issues of maternity leave, sick leave, etc. Because a lot of women do sick leaves, not because they're sick, but because a family member of them are sick. So, kasi sila pa rin yung expected mag-alaga sa pamilya nila. The same time that they are working, if you are on a maternity leave, you leave you leave for at least one semester. Wala ka sa university for at least one semester, and that has a lot of impact for your promotion kasi binibilang din yung teaching hours mo. Yes ma'am. And then yung mga anything, and hindi naman yung same kapag parehas kami academic, tas yung lalaki kong asawa na nakabuntis sa akin, nagtatrabaho pa rin, nag-roll over pa rin yung promotion points niya habang ako wala. So like wala pa tayong specific measures for that, policy-wise. In our everyday lives, magkaiba pa rin yung standards, ultimo kilay mo pinapansin, policy-wise, magkaiba pa rin yung standards, kulang pa sa opportunities for promotion, etc. And that's just within my job, which is already considered as more gender equal than other occupations, like say for example engineering, even law, So that's yung akin na to So the second question, what did you say about Ellen? So ako naman, of course, I would admit that my relationship with all of my students have not been like roses and butterflies. But I've also had, rough journeys with some of my students who feel particularly threatened with how I look at gender. Because I tend to be very, assertive, and no, you have to think about it this way. So sometimes when I talk about gender in class, I make a disclaimer na, okay, you here, heterosexual, cisgender males, at least for my class, I forgive you, okay? I forgive you for being straight, heterosexual males, at least for my class. Para naman ma-feel na nilang forgiven sila. Forgiveness talaga. So, yun yung sinasabi ko, so dami galit sa akin. Tapos, it's also like, it's also in the classroom, like breaking everything that they know, everything that they have internalized about women, men, sexism, etc., etc. And I always use maganda yung pagkamagit ni Mami, pop culture to do that. So, pinapanood ko sila ng mga face-to-face. Ta-da-da-da! Di ba? Face-to-face. Tapos pag may face-to-face, lagi mga kabit-kabit. Tapos it's always the lalaki na nangangabit. Tapos sasabihin ni Ateng Jelly or ni Ami Perez na, ikaw naman kasi, bakit hindi mo binibigyan ng... Ikaw naman kasi sasabihin sa lalaki, bakit hindi ka magtrabaho? Tapos ano sasabihin sa babae? Ikaw naman kasi, bakit hindi mo bigyan ng atensyon yung asawa mo? Tapos napakita ko, ganito, ito yung mismong problema. Ito yung mismong problema kung bakit sila nag-aaway. Tapos ang solusyon mo, ayun din. Di ba? Nag-aaway sila kasi nangabit yung lalaki. Tapos nangabit yung lalaki kasi sabi ng lalaki, hindi mo ka binibigyan ng atensyon. Tapos ang advice mo, ganun din. So, walang nangyari. I mean, ginawa mo ng entertainment yung napaka-gendered na issue. So, it's something that it's how I approach my classes, and it's not always been roses and butterflies for all of my students, but that's necessary in order to forward, gender equality. So, sa mga estudyante ko, pag napapanood nyo to, sa mga estudyante ko, sexual cisgender, I forgive you guys.
We're getting laugh reacts in Zoom, but I think in anything, especially things that we're only starting to learn about now, someone needs to be assertive so that the lessons and the messages can really stick.
For sure.
So, it's time for audience questions. But first, I just want to say hello to Maria Victoria Eda Ponan, who's always commenting on our lives. Hello to Ma'am Jen. And hello to Fe Josefa G. Nava. Okay, so we have a student here in the Zoom meeting who some of you might know already. He actually helped get this episode together. And to ask his question, please welcome Miguel. Hi, Miguel.
Hello.
Hi, Miguel.
Hello, hello.
My student.
Yes. Okay, so my question for both of you would be, what's the best advice that you have ever gotten?
Advice on?
Like in general, like anyone that has given you advice, like what's the best advice that you've ever gotten or received?
Atina, ikaw muna.
And maybe to bring this a step further also, what's the best advice, like any form of life advice that you've received, and what is advice you would give to a young woman who is about to start her journey in the workplace or college, or about to start any journey in general?
Okay, ako na lang. Okay, I remember. Okay, when I was young, starting in my career, I'm not as assertive as this. I'm very introvert. I'm very shy. I don't believe in that. Wala akong believe sa sarili ko. And then takot ako pag sinabi ng mga tao, okay, you interview this manager, you interview this president. I'm so scared. I'm intimidated by the title alone. But my father, I remember what my father said. He said, Babes, my name is Babes. Babes, don't be intimidated. Pareho lang kayo niyan. Pareho lang kayo kumakain, pareho lang kayo pumupuntang banyo, whatever. Pareho lang kayo niyan. The only difference is that God gave him the opportunity now, and you will have that same opportunity. So don't be intimidated at all. So that stuck to my mind, and that I think is the best advice that I received, and it's from my father. And I also give that to my students as well. Because I've been there eh. I've been there, hindi man ako ganito ka-assertive eh. Noon talagang hiya-hiya ako. To the point I did not have any confidence there. I was really very introverted that when I was driving from Makati Avenue and tatawid lang ako ng Paseo de Rojas, hiyang-hiya ako. I don't know why. I was so shy. Hindi ako makatawid, as in I was driving and people were beeping their horns already, and that was my lowest point. So I've been there, so I understand how others, what they're feeling, what they're experiencing. Athena.
Ako naman kasi sobrang dami kong ginagawa in life. Like, workaholic talaga si ate. I'm ate. So, sasabihin, for example, ng colleagues ko na, ito choose a rest day before your body chooses it for you. So, yes. So, sa ating mga more workaholic dyan, choose a rest day before your body chooses it for you. And that's like one of the best pieces of advice that I've heard in my entire life so far. So, ito naman yung ibibigay kong advice sa mga estudyante ko or sa mga kababaihan out there na kailangan maging assertive, sabi nga ni Ma'am Llanera, kailangan maging assertive. Pero syempre, pag ikaw kasi pinalaki kang iniisip na kailangan mong maging people pleaser kasi babae ka, you have to be mahinhin, ngiti-ngiti ka, etc. Huwag ka maging brusko kasi pang lalaki yung mga ganyan, huwag ka maging assertive kasi pang lalaki, bastos kapag gano'n. I mean, ako, go for it. And so what if people will not like you because you don't like everybody anyway? So it's okay, girl. If some people don't like you because you're just standing your ground, then it's okay because you don't like other people anyway. And in the process of standing your ground, you're also paving the way for more women in what you're doing. So, laban lang. Ako nung una parang nakakahiya, sinabihan ko siya ng no. Pero ngayon parang deserve ko to. So, yeah.
Yes to everything. Galing. Oh God. I wish we had more time kasi ang dami pa natin sana questions and we parang pwede pa natin i-digest but unfortunately we don't have like time anymore. We reached that hour. But before we let you go, maybe Ma'am Llanera, would you like to promote your vlog? Kasi kanina nag-usapan na natin.
Okay. I'm gonna promote 3 things lang. My International Wildlife Coalition Trust. Please follow our page in Facebook. I have a travel blog. It's mostly tips. No, it's Smart Travels with Suzanne. And what else? That's it. That's all I want to promote.
Okay, thank you. How about you, Ma'am Ash? Anything you'd like to plug, to promote?
Follow yung impact leadership kasi importanteng inform tayong lahat sa election kasi I don't believe that we can separate live love feminism with like the very stressful very burdensome world of politics because the opportunities that will be open for you, who you choose to love, how you choose to express yourself, how you make your choices are also very directly affected by the politicians who are going to lead your country and the votes that you're going to cast this May 2022 election. So follow impact leadership, follow news and all of the other credible social media pages about the Philippine elections.
Thank you so much. Max, go ahead.
Thank you. So we'll make sure to find the links of all of those and put it on our stream so that people know where to find them and can check them out, especially now. I think that's very important. Now, before we say goodbye, I really wish we had more time because I feel like there's still so many things that we can still talk about and a lot of topics I still want to dive into, but the hour really just flew by. So anyway, before I thank everyone and say goodbye properly, allow me to thank a few people first. So this has been New Wave. Thank you to B for helping me out today. Thank you so much. And thank you to Sir Justin for handling this broadcast. Thank you to Migoy and Ian for always supporting the show and having my back. Thank you to Miguel for helping us put this together. And of course, thank you once again to our audience for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you next week, where we will be talking to singer, songwriter, and inspirational podcaster Vanya Castor. Now, don't miss out. Follow us on Instagram at newwave.rk to stay updated. Catch the replay on Radio Katipunan 87.9 FM's Facebook page, YouTube, and Twitter Live, all of which go by at Radio Katipunan. And don't forget that you can listen to a replay of this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Anchor. But most of all, thank you to our very inspirational and empowering guests, Miss Ash and Miss Suzanne, for joining us today. Though we weren't in a classroom, we really learned a lot from both of you, and we wish you both the best in your endeavors, and we hope you have a great month ahead.
Thank you
so
too.
much.
Enjoyed. We're so daldal.
We
Laban,
loved it.
okay.
It was so fun, and like we said, we really wished we had more time, but unfortunately, we have to say goodbye. So once again, I'm Max, and when it comes to what's happening, I'll serve you the facts. And this has been New Wave. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
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 Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
If it's entertainment you crave,
Catch us on
New
New
Wave.
Wave.
Surfing through the latest on our shores.
Every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m.
See you there.
Radyo, radyo,